After a few quite testing months in 2025, we finally come to a period of blessing, of ease and harmony. May 2025, I have good news for you. We went through Mars, Venus, Mercury retrograde, 2 eclipses, Saturn, Venus conjunctions, very intense influences in the last 3-4 months. But now we're gonna take a breath of fresh air and relief. As you can see, most of the transits and aspects between planets in May are harmonious, trines, sextiles. There are here and there a square, but it's very minimal compared to what we've been going through. We're like a soldier coming out of a battle. And we'll be in the month of May, we'll be recovering, recuperating, improving. Things will start looking up. We're out of the hardest period of 2025. So with this good news, we're gonna have a full moon in Scorpio with opposition with Uranus around the 12th of May, which might be a bit more excitable, unpredictable, intense, like the energy of Scorpio, but pretty much everything around it is fantastic. But the biggest event in May is that towards the end, on the 25th of May, Saturn is moving to Aries for the first time since 29 years, the 1995, 6, something like that it was then. In Aries again, and it will stay there for 3 months this year, and then 26 and 27, the whole 2 years it will be in Aries. So this video will focus on how Saturn, the bad big wolf of astrology, how you can tame it, how you can turn it into a loyal dog that will guard your back and to thrive through this period. So stay with me to see how Saturn will affect you. Actually, if you want to really dive into Saturn in Aries, I've created a 3-hour video plus around 40 pages PDF that covers absolutely every possible influence of Saturn in Aries. Say if you have Venus in Gemini, Saturn will try sextile it, or if you have Libra, Jupiter, Saturn will oppose it, or if you have Cancer, Moon, Saturn will square it. What are the influences on a personal level with many real life stories and remedies and how to overcome it and how to do the best out of it. Just $12. Check it out. I always try to be as affordable as possible. But now let's begin. I'm excited. Taurus, Sun, Moon, Rising, May 2025. Taurus, it is your month. The sun is in your sign. It's awakening your life forces, your energy to come to the surface, to feel more inspired, to take action. Now is the time. There will be like a new inspiration coming into your mind or new possibilities that are unfolding, because the first house of new beginnings is being revitalized for you. Of course, there will be a new moon already, still in April in your sign. So the whole May, you have the green light to act, to move forward, to start new beginnings. There is an full moon in your 7th house on the 12th, which is opposite Uranus, so it's a bit more intense, but you have an full moon in your 7th house every year around May, so nothing new under the sun. Maybe you'll be dealing with some relationship situation with clients, with other people, or maybe you see the result of some collaboration, or maybe if your spouse or partner has been doing something, they will be able to complete it now to see the results of it, or maybe you just put more emphasis, Taurus, on relationship for a week, maybe from the 12th to the 18th. And there can be sudden developments in your relationships because Uranus is opposite this full moon, revealing of some secrets or private information, or sudden realizations as well, that middle week of May. Some surprises, surprises connected to relationships and to others, or others activating you in some way to act yourself. But the big event this month, and Mars, the whole month is in your 4th house. You can be very proactive, productive at your home. For example, you can do spring cleaning, you can do some repairs, build something around the home, do some fixes, or be proactive with your family, do things together, or in your garden. Fourth house though, Mars, you can be a little bit more argumentative. There can be some things that you need to address with family members that you can clash, not the whole month, a certain period, when Mars is exactly squaring your sun or your ascendant or your moon from the fourth house for a few 3, 4, 5 days that you have to resolve, because Mars is problem solver. Resolve some problem or issue related to close, dear ones, family, real estate, property. But things are moving there. They're not stagnant. They're project connected to home, to family. They're moving ahead. You put energy there. But the big event is that Saturn on the 25th of May is moving into your 12th house. Please save this video to favorites and come back to it over the next 2-3 years, because Saturn will stay in your 12th house for 3 years. And now this year, just 3 months, so you get a taster from it. But truly the important event for some of you might unfold in 2026, 2027, about Saturn in the 12th house. So it's good to have this video close at hand so you can check it. So what does Saturn in the 12th house will ask from you over the next 3 years till 2028 including? 12th house is the house of endings, and Saturn is a planet of pressure. So there can be a pressure on you to act, to end something. And 12th house, and this can be very good endings, because 12th house is also the house of our self-sabotaging behaviors like addictions, or other self-sabotaging behaviors. They don't have to be physical addictions. They can be mental weaknesses, mental health issues, of some sort, where you're always beating down on yourself in some way. And Saturn, and in Aries, it's like pressure to act, to end something in the 12th house. So you can, powerful time for the next 2-3 years to end bad habits, to end chapters of your life, and to complete chapters of your life that are not serving you anymore. I have just went through Saturn through my 12th house from the sun, and it's been, in Pisces, Saturn is more gentle than in Aries. In Aries, it will be more like categorical, more ruthless. So when it transits the 12th house, it will be like, bam, that's the past. Saturn and Aries don't mess around in a combination. And if you're resisting ending certain things, and I'm not saying ending everything in your life, no, the things that are like undermining you, the things that your fears, 12th house is a lot of our subconscious fears we carry from even past lifetimes. And it might be a fear of being successful even. It might be a fear of letting go of certain crutches that you carry to survive day-to-day emotional stresses. It might be a fear of blossoming. There's fear of wealth, there's fear of commitment as well. And those irrational almost fears, Saturn can ruthlessly show them to you what they are. And eliminate them over the next 2-3 years. It doesn't happen in a day, it's a 3-year period. But by the time Saturn enters your sign, you, in Taurus, you'd feel like you've released, like, when a ship is sinking, they throw out, or a balloon that starts sinking, they throw out a lot of sandbags, a lot of dead weight that you would have thrown out, thanks to Saturn in the 12th house. And it's not Saturn doing it for you. You'd feel ready, like I can get rid of that, those fears, those old situations in life. And yes, things end when Saturn is in the 12th house. They can be relationship endings. Saturn also rules your 10th house, certain aspects of your career. But 12th house is also the house of seeing the final result. So they can be reaping in regards to, if over the past 30 years you've put hard efforts at your work, you might be like retiring. Oh, not only 30 years, but you've been working hard in this 10th house, Saturn rules 10th house, or in your education, Saturn rules the 9th house. You can see the results of that. If you've done a lot of hard work on spiritual growth, 9th house, self-improvement, 9th house, Saturn in the 12th house can be like, finally you're seeing the fruits of this. You're picking up the fruits of those efforts at your career, or your social status, or your spiritual growth, self-improvement. But also it's about dissolution. Saturn in the 12th house can mean dissolving of certain aspects of your career, or retiring, or uh, redirecting, like, oh, I'm not sure if I want to go in this career anymore, so starting to explore different options. Possibly when Saturn moves into the first house, you can really implement those. And maybe you're dissolving your belief system. Saturn rules the ninth house, that you were indoctrinated through the culture, through the society overall. This is the ninth house. Those can get dissolved from you. They can be a sense of existential, like, wow, I'm losing grounding, everything I believed in, everything that was my pillar in life, the 10th house. It's everything that I looked up towards, and it's kind of dissolving, but you're seeing through the lies there also. You're seeing through the things that are really not sustainable long term for you, or at least that you've outgrown, and you can release them, let go of them. And sometimes some goodbyes have to come. It's okay. As I said, I went through Saturn in the 12th house from my sun. Um, and it's sometimes it's like a lay low period a little bit more, because you're ending a 30-year cycle. So you're picking up the results of your efforts, but also seeing what has to be let go, gone, and releasing it. And more introspection. A person, when Saturn transits the 12th house from ascendant in particular, from the sun and moon as well, maybe not to such a big extent, there is the need to spend time alone, to think. Sometimes the sleep, a lot of the problems are resolved through sleep, or whatever we need to release is shown to us through sleep. So if you haven't overcome some trauma, or someone hurt you at high school, or a family trauma that happened, or you might have been older and you keep dreaming of it when Saturn is in your 12th house, know that this is actually a way of the soul to resolve this trauma. We do it through dreams, even though the dreams can be, why am I having those? Like I first went through Saturn in my 12th house from ascendant, and 2 years later Saturn in 12th house from my sun sign, from my sun. And it's like those dreams constantly of the biggest fears I've had before. And by the end of this transit, the dreams start changing, because I worked through that. And like at school, I was always worried not to be prepared. And at the end of the period of Saturn in the 12th, I'll dream this. I'm not ready. I'm not prepared. I'll dream someone that hurt me all the time, or someone I hurt that I felt guilty. The same dreams repeating. It shows you where the big traumas are from the past 29 years. It will show you, but also you're working through them. And by the end of this period, usually your dreams start changing, and you see, like, in this situation that you always did the same in the dream, now you act in a different way. So sometimes when Saturn is in the 12th house, a lot of the really important work is even happening on a subconscious level. But if you're working with a psychologist, that's what I did in the last year and a half now. I've been working with a psychologist with Saturn in my 12th house. Not that I timed it, or Saturn's in my 12th house from the sun, I'm going to work with a psychologist. It just aligned perfectly naturally. And I realized a lot of things about my past, about the past 29 years, and I very easily released them. And instead of judging myself for that, I needed those experiences. Now I'm no longer in this situation. I don't need to keep acting this way. So it's a very important period for psychological upgrading, for psychologically improving yourself, releasing mental health issues, things that are blocking you from the past. On another level, you might have work or some responsibilities in a faraway country. 12 houses of foreign countries, places, distant places. You might be doing something connected to that there. On another level, 12 houses, prisons. I was in a little bit of a prison with Saturn in my 12th house from the ascendant. I just had 2 babies, baby prison. So this kind of isolation was there, and I couldn't sleep well. 12 houses, the house of sleeping. There can sometimes be some sleep disruptions. Again, there is a spiritual reason for that. It's not that you're doing something wrong. It's usually the subconscious because sleep is the subconscious, is working hard. When Saturn is in the 12th house. But yeah, with this, some kind of lower energy can be there sometimes. But if you're naturally someone who is more introspective, who have, every time you've done something wrong, you atone for it, or kind of like say, oh, I'm not gonna do it again, it didn't feel right. Person with conscience, you know. Then Saturn in the 12th house is like, it's not gonna show you, look at all the mistakes you did, everyone that you hurt. It's not gonna be like payback time. It's gonna be more like reminiscing, releasing the hurt from others, letting go. But 12th house is again the mental health. Sometimes you might feel like stuck, because 12th house is also endings. You might feel like, oh, things are ending, but I don't know, I want to begin something new, I'm feeling it, but why am I not beginning? Well, the new beginning will come when Saturn moves into Taurus from 2028. It doesn't mean that there won't be any new beginnings in life, but I mean some really big, important new beginning, like a whole new chapter in your life. Well, now you're wrapping up the previous chapter. And yeah, sometimes this can be sad, but sometimes it can be, yeah, I was feeling good. Why not wrap up the previous 29 years? You know. And 12th house, Saturn in the 12th house is good time for research, for study, for digging into the past or preparing for something. Saturn in the 12th house is, if you're connected to foreign lands, because it's foreign lands, it might be connected more to foreign travel. But for me, Saturn in the 12th was like blocked foreign lands. I've lived for 30 years in foreign lands, and Saturn moved in the 12th from my son, and I came back into my country. So I was like, I'm done with foreign lands for a little bit. Now it's moving out of my 12th. Maybe I can try it again. On another level, yeah, so this, a lot more I can tell you about Saturn in the 12th. Let me see. Yes, something to warn you. Sometimes 12th house is what is in our blind spot. You think you know someone. You think someone is a friend, an acquaintance of yours, colleague. But there is always a blind spot, you know? And Saturn in the 12th house shows us exactly that. I remember so clearly when Saturn entered my 12th house from Ascendant, I became aware of hidden enemies. And for a couple of years, I dealt, or let's say a year, I dealt with people that I thought are good, but they were actually, for me, I'm not saying they're bad people overall, just they were doing things that were not right behind my back, and I found out about that. So yeah, Saturn, there can be time to pay for, so if they've been hidden enemies in your life, or someone doing something hidden from you, Saturn does not tolerate hidden things and such kind of, he wants all the cards to be on the table. He wants the truth to be out. Plus, any immorality. Saturn is the laws, the spiritual laws of the universe, the human laws that we create. If you've been breaking the laws in any way, the spiritual laws, by cheating, by not being honest, whatever, by stealing, by being criminal, either. Saturn in the 12th house is, the pay time. It's karmic time to pay for this. But if you're a good, normal, kind person, self-aware, Saturn in the 12th house might be nothing really too much of a problem. Some endings on a higher level, that some bad habits that you release, some old attachments and so on. But if you have a lot of skeletons in the closet, Saturn in the 12th house, or if someone has been doing something behind your back, it can release it. But spiritual people, because 12th house is spirituality, they will definitely can do a lot of important work now, a lot of inner work, they can feel sometimes that they have blocked access to those invisible worlds, but they'll consistently go and push there. And if you feel a bit lower energy, that's okay, that's normal. It's the ending of a 30-year cycle. It's normal that the energies are exhausted. And then Saturn will move into your first house in a couple of years from 2028. So you start building the new. Maybe now you're preparing for it for the next 2-3 years and so on. But if you're good, moral people, don't be worried about karmic retributions or anything. It's more like karmic rewards for the good life that you build over the previous years, that Saturn of the previous Saturn cycle. So yeah, there you go, Taurus. If you want to find out a lot more, because say you might have Venus in Taurus, so the Sun, or Venus in Gemini, Saturn will sextile it, or you might have Mars in Leo, and Saturn will trine it. Or you might have many Tauruses have planets in Aries. You might have Venus in Aries. Saturn will transit it over the next 2-3 years. And I'll tell you in my video of for Saturn in Aries exactly the year Saturn will transit any planet for you, what kind of aspect it is it sextile, trine. I teach you, even if you have absolutely no idea about astrology, I show you how to generate your chart, how to see, say if you say, oh, I have Venus in Aquarius, and I tell you what is the degree there, find it, and I tell you the year Saturn will sextile your Venus, and how wonderful it will be for you, for your relationships, for example, and so on, or how challenging, and remedies for it. So check it out. It's just $12. I try to make my services extremely affordable for the normal people. I'm very Saturn ruled, so I want it to be for everyone. So check it out. Thank you.